Just when Keir Starmer thought he was stepping onto the world stage as a peacemaker, Vladimir Putin delivered a brutal and very public humiliation. With Starmer and Kiev warning Russia to stand down, the Kremlin responded not with words but with a show of force that made Britain's threats look laughable. Putin didn't just ignore Starmer, he steamrolled right through him. Here's what happened next. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. In a dramatic escalation that threatens to derail ongoing diplomatic efforts, Vladimir Putin has launched one of the largest drone attacks in recent months, just days before scheduled peace talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Despite pressure from both Keir Starmer and Donald Trump to halt hostilities and pursue peace, the Kremlin's latest move sends a chilling message to the West. Russia is not backing down. Russia unleashed a devastating swarm of 108 drones over Ukraine on Sunday night, including dozens of Shahed kamikaze drones. This aerial assault targeted critical infrastructure and residential areas across northern and eastern Ukraine, with reports confirming hits in Kherson, Odessa, Zaporizhia, and beyond. Ukraine's military claims to have intercepted 55 of the drones, with another 30 reportedly malfunctioning or lost mid-air. But even with those figures, the damage was significant. The Odessa, Mykolaiv, Donetsk and Zhytomyr regions were all hit, according to Ukraine's Air Force Command, which credited a combined defense effort involving aircraft, missile systems, electronic warfare units, and mobile fire groups for limiting the destruction. In a swift counterstrike, Ukrainian forces reportedly used long-range HIMARS systems to destroy a hotel being used by Russian forces in the town of Rilsk. This retaliatory attack underscores the high-stakes tit-for-tat nature of this war, right at a moment when the world hoped the violence might subside in favor of diplomacy. This latest clash comes amid a growing international push for peace. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been directly involved, recently visiting Kiev to meet with President Zelensky in what was billed as a serious effort to explore diplomatic resolutions. Starmer has publicly urged Moscow to stand down, warning that Britain and its allies are prepared to intensify support for Ukraine if Russia continues its aggression. But his warnings appear to have fallen on deaf ears, at least for now. Adding to the diplomatic pressure, Donald Trump, aligning himself with several European leaders, called for a 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Trump's message was blunt: give diplomacy a chance or face deeper consequences. He warned that if Russia violates any truce, the United States and its allies would impose harsher sanctions. This intervention marks a rare show of bipartisan consensus in the West, both conservative and liberal leaders urging a halt to the bloodshed. Yet despite this coordinated pressure, Putin remains defiant, though he has now agreed, at least in principle, to send a delegation to Istanbul for direct peace talks. The timing of this drone attack sends a very different signal. The Kremlin claims Russia is ready to resume negotiations, but observers note the assault may have been intended as a show of strength, a bargaining tactic to arrive at the table from a position of power. Meanwhile, President Zelensky responded by reiterating that any peace deal must begin with a complete and lasting ceasefire. There is no point in prolonging the killings, he said, emphasizing that meaningful diplomacy cannot coexist with continued bloodshed. As it stands, the world watches with bated breath. Will Thursday's talks in Istanbul offer a real path to peace? Or are we witnessing a high-stakes game of geopolitical brinkmanship? One thing is certain: Starmer, Trump, and Zelensky are calling for calm. But Putin's latest move proves that in this war, words still compete with missiles. In other news, Nigel Farage has laid into Sir Keir Starmer after the Prime Minister unveiled his plans to crack down on Britain's broken borders. Speaking to the media, the Reform UK leader accused Starmer of being insincere and warned he was playing catch-up on the issue of immigration. The Prime Minister's white paper seeks to end automatic settlement and citizenship for anyone living in Britain 5 years. Migrants will instead need to spend a decade in the UK before applying to stay, unless they can show a real and lasting contribution to the economy and society. In a twist, Farage also pointed out that Starmer's references to taking back control, which the Prime Minister made 5 times this morning, precede the 2016 Vote Leave campaign. "I was using take back control in 2004, the grinning Clacton MP claimed. Delivering his verdict on the measures, Farage told the media, "They weren't concerned before May 1st, were they? Keir Starmer has spent his whole career campaigning for free movement of people, wholly unconcerned about this subject, so much so that their massive parliamentary majority was gained without immigration, even being one of their 5 main priorities." Now, of course, he knows that amongst the great British public, this issue rates even higher than the health service, and he's just basically playing catch-up with Reform. During the announcement, Starmer dismissed Reform as that party, casting doubt of any threat from Farage's recent electoral success. He claimed, "I know on a day like today, people who like politics will try to make this all about politics, about this or that strategy, targeting these voters responding to that party. No, I am doing this because it is right, because it is fair, and because it is what I believe in." Highlighting Starmer's use of language in his announcement where he warned of Britain becoming a nation of strangers, Farage declared that the Prime Minister would never say that at any point of his life. He fumed, "You wouldn't have heard the PM say it at any point in his life. This is not the conversation of the North London dinner party set. Many of the things he said are the same things I've been saying for over 20 years, and that's Starmer's problem, insincerity." In a pointed attack on the Prime Minister, Farage asked, "What does this man actually believe in, other than trying to keep power for its own sake? This is totally insincere at every level. And whatever happens, there are still massive loopholes here for overseas students, and net migration is still going to run under this Labour government at many hundreds of thousands a year." And all of this on the same day when we see hundreds of people, young men, crossing the English Channel. I would ask the Prime Minister, how confident is he? Comparing Starmer's latest efforts to former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Farage claimed that Britons will look back on this announcement like the nation did with Sunak's "Stop the Boat" slogan. Farage told the media, "I think we'll look back on today a little bit like Rishi Sunak's pledges "Stop the Boats." Remember that? He didn't stop the boats. It cost the Conservatives very, very dearly in the general election. So am I worried? I'm afraid not. If he was to succeed with all of this, I'd praise him to the heavens, but he's not." The Reform leader added, "We are controlling the narrative in terms of the rhetoric. They're following Reform on all of this, but do they have the will to drive any of this through? I very much doubt it." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.